area behind me is looking a little bit better now. A lot less bubble wrap and boxes, organisation. I have a little bit of a cold, so I sound a little bit bunged up, and I also have a spot on my nose. So please forgive Jeremy for his rude interruptions. I'm hoping this week we can actually make a profit from these faulty items that I purchased from eBay. A very small package, but what's inside them? Very mighty. I refuse to be beaten again this week and continue to lose money. Who knows, maybe we'll make the biggest profit so far. Enough jibber jabber. What do we have today? We have 2 faulty Nintendo Switches, and would you look at that, one of them even came with a right Joy-Con. This right here is Sally's spectacular spreadsheet. I've even used a formula, get me, to calculate 80% off our listing fees for eBay, because that's the only time that I will sell on eBay. I paid £105 for both of these Nintendo Switches. Later on in the video, we'll calculate up the parts used, how much we're then able to sell for, which will then give us a profit. The profit box is the sell price minus the eBay fee minus the parts cost, and finally minus the cost that we actually paid for the console or consoles. So let's see how this turns out later on in the video. Let's inspect both of our Switches and see what condition they're in, shall we? I think it's fairly obvious to state that they both have no power. I'm really hoping that the stickers aren't gonna mark the screen when I take them off, but we're gonna start with 18081. On close inspection, it looks like we have majority of the screws. This is always a great sign, especially these little ones on the bottom here and this one at the top. That's really, really good. Unfortunately, we don't have a kickstand. We have the screw here though. That's again, really good. Do we have a game in the console? No, we don't. Both of these Switches were bought from the same seller. Sometimes that can be really good, or sometimes that could be really bad. Let's head over to Blue Mat Pat and see if there's anything wrong with the charging port. Can we see any issues here? No, I can't, if I'm being 100% honest with you. We look pretty clean. The pins themselves are all flush with the plastic, so we don't have any issues there. A few scratch marks in and around the port, but nothing too serious. In which case, we're going to go ahead and use our ammeter. Any tools that I use in these videos will be linked through Amazon affiliate links down below in the description. I do get a little bit of a kickback if you purchase anything using my affiliate links. So if we plug this into the Nintendo Switch, what do we read? We read something, which is good, but we get 5 volts at 0 amps. Do we get the same on the other side as well? Let's check. 5 volts, 0 amps. To me, this could be a simple M92T36 chip replacement. I hope that's the case. It means we get to do some soldering in this video. Let's take this switch apart and see what lies on the inside. I'm really happy, and do you know why I'm really happy? I don't think anybody has genuinely been inside this Nintendo Switch, and for those who have been around the channel for a while, that means a lot to me. I am truly grateful that nobody has been in this. I say this now, I bet I can't fix it, but it just increases our chances a lot more if nobody has been in the device previously, tenfold. Let's continue taking it apart. Okay, we have pretty much everything disconnected now. What we're going to do is zoom in on this little chip here. This is the M92T36 power IC. We're going to see if we got any shorts around this component underneath the microscope. Hello, M92T36. Right, we have the meter in continuity mode, which is the mode that beeps when we touch the probes together and have a full circuit. Do we have any shorts around M92T36? So far, looking really good actually. What about here? I didn't test here. No, we seem to be okay. Okay, alright. Could still be a bad chip, but we don't have any obvious shorts as of yet. The board revision is HAC CPU 20. Let's go over to the BQ chip, which is the charging IC. Is that a crack? Or is that just, no, it's just a little bit of dried flux or something. Let's check around here to see if we have any shorts. No, so we also seem really good around this chip as well. There's one more chip which is on the back. It's called P13 USB. That could be shorted, which is causing some charging issues. I've had it before where that is the case. Even though the P13 chip is responsible for the HDMI output to a docking station, it can cause issues with the charging circuit. Let's check the port itself as well, just the pins here, to see if we have any damage. Perhaps if it was pushed back, could have made a loose connection. Nope, seems to be okay, let's take the board out of the housing now and check P13 USB, which is on the other side. The board is out, and here we have our little buddy P13 USB, again, which looks fine. So let's go ahead and just measure this cap here, which will be fine because it does link to the other side of the board. And that cap was also fine next to M92. This is fine. Whilst I'm here, I might as well check the filters. All good. I'm going to go for an M92 T36 chip change here. Chip change. And see if that is our issue. Just quickly, I'll measure around the caps around the max IC. No, they seem fine as well. Okay, let's swap out M92 T36. What are the chances that M92 was the only issue wrong with this Nintendo Switch? If so, man, I'm going to be so happy. Clean off the thermal paste and apply some new. I'm going to test it in the chassis. I know essentially as well, it's not like, you know, a massively easy thing to do, replace a chip like M92 T36. But for me, usually when I'm repairing or trying to repair Nintendo Switches, because I'm buying that console off of eBay, it comes with several different issues, not just one simple one like that. So I guess I'll be flabbergasted is the word that I'm going to use if this works. I think it's going to work. My wife has just called me and asked if I want a McDonald's as well. McDonald's and a working Switch. What a great day this could be. LCD ribbon cable has been plugged in to the connector, and we also have the backlight connected. I just want to see if we get anything on the screen. And we're also looking for 15 voltations. Here we go. What happens? 15 volts, 0.03 amps, 0.07. That's good. Let's just jump down to 0 amps. Battery's not plugged in. We get 15 volts though. That's a massive result. Silly Joey. Right, here we go. Attempt number 2. Okay. 0.07. 0.13 amps, and we get the little logo on the screen. Wicked. I said logo, it's a battery symbol to show charging. It's not a logo, Joey. This is a huge result. All I had to do was change out M92 T36, and remember, we didn't have any shorts around M92 T36. Goes to show that you can still have a bad component even if everything around it seems to be fine. I'll reassemble the Switch now. I'll put everything back together, brand new thermal paste, make sure it's all nice and tidy, and give it a really quick test. That could be our first win of the day. Come on. I think it's important to note as well that some people might be wondering, how does M92 T36 end up not working? Sometimes it can just blow. Other times I believe some people put in wrong chargers, which supplies the incorrect amount of current. The chip can't handle it and it just goes, see you later. And this is why it's super important not to put stickers on screens, because you can mark them, and sometimes, I mean, I'm just working very, very slowly here, but you can easily damage them by leaving this stuff on. Most importantly, it's just a pain to deal with. However, I don't know about you guys, but this Switch is looking in great condition now that we've given it a clean. Just need to sort out this sticker on the back as well. Oh no, this one's even worse. It's too late, I'm too far gone. I should have applied heat to that before I started trying to rip it off. I guess what did turn out to be a nice, simple, easy job has now become a little bit more time wasting and challenging. If you are going to sell items on eBay, I'd recommend just maybe even using like a sticky note. Sticky notes are nice because they're not as sticky as what the white labels are. Okay, here we go. I'll go ahead and put this one on charge, and we'll come back to it later just to give it some tests and make sure it turns on, doesn't have parental lock, etc, etc. Just quickly clean up the old mat as well. Okay, shall we take a look at Nintendo Switch number 2 and see if we can go 2 for 2 in this video, which I think is almost unheard of. Same situation, no power. We'll have a look at the USB-C port in a second. Screw-wise, we're looking good. Again, we have all the screws, even in the top. Do we have the 2 at the bottom? Yes, we do as well. This is looking good. We've even got a kickstand. We don't have a micro SD card. Do we have a game? No, unfortunately not. Let's take a look at the port. Okay, how are we? Oh, yes. Okay, so we can evidently see what's going on with this one. It is a bad charging port. And when I say bad, the bottom side looks like it's had a wolf in and the wolf has had some lunch. Whereas we look at the top side, and that seems to be okay. I'm guessing somebody has plugged an incorrect charger in here, maybe a micro USB or something along those lines, or even something like a lightning port. People have done that in the past, and it's completely bent back the pins. This means I'm not going to be a moron and use my ammeter here, because if I use this and try and give this Nintendo Switch power, I could make things 10 times worse. I could put power to the wrong parts of the board because all of those pins are touching, and it could go bang. Let's go ahead and take this Nintendo Switch apart and remove the port from it. Dare I say it, it doesn't look like anyone's been in this Nintendo Switch either. This seller is getting a huge thumbs up from me. Let's take this board out of the case. And here's the port again in all of its glory. There we go. Just overall inspection of the board. M92 looks fine, no holes or anything in it. That's good. BQ also looks dandy. And P13 USB on the back also looks good. Out of curiosity, let's check first if we have any shorts on M92 T36 whilst the port is still on the board. Need to in continuity mode again, just like we did with the other Switch. Okay, so we don't have any shorts here. And no shorts anywhere else around M92T36, which frankly is an absolute miracle considering how damaged this port is. It could just be a port swap. Again, check around BQ. Everything around BQ seems absolutely fine also, and you know it, that's fine. Quick inspection of the filters. See this? This shouldn't be how it is. We should have a vertical line, which we do here. We shouldn't have continuity diagonally. So good job I checked the filters, because this probably wouldn't have outputted a signal to the docking station, or it would have been quite a fuzzy signal. I think that's kind of a guess. I don't know maybe if that is because of the situation with the port. So let's get the port out first, then I'll come back and measure this again. Alright, let's test that filter again whilst the port is off. It was this middle one. And it was because the pins were touching, because that is now fine. I'll just check over all of them again. Yep, they're all okay. Now let's just come in with our tweezers and check that every single one is solid, which is why I tinned the port, by the way. Just to make sure that we have a solid connection on every single one, which we do. So that port's been replaced. We don't need to replace M92T36 because we don't have any shorts that we know of just yet. And this filter here on the back of the board is fine. Before we go ahead and check switch number 2 to see if it works, I'm gonna have a look at switch number 1 to see after a charge if it turns on and if it works properly. We also need to take a look at this JoyCon, which came in the listing as well. So if we can fix this as well, technically that's a 3 out of 3, but I don't know what the issue is with this JoyCon. Here we have the first Nintendo Switch. It's now charged. It is on, which is amazing. What I need to check is a few things. Touchscreen works, I can hear the speaker, and it has a few games as well. They're not digital games, we need the game cartridge for them. Mario Party, put that in. It says a system update is required to use this game card, but it recognises it. I'll do that in a bit and confirm. And then SD card reader, is that all good? Yes it is, that's perfect. These are my own Joy-Cons, these two here. I just want to see if they work. That one certainly does, wicked. And does this one? Yes, it does. Okay, so the Joy-Cons are also absolutely fine. And finally, just to confirm that this is fully working, we need to put it in a docking station. The dock is all plugged in. If I put the switch in, do we get a green light is the first question. I can see a green light. Do we get anything on the Elgato game scene? Yes, we do. There we go. It works in a dock as well. Now we're going to check and see if switch number 2 is fixed with that charging port that's been replaced. So we've got the no power sticker. This all needs to be cleaned by me. Do we get anything on the ammeter? We do. That is good news, 0.08, and we get something on the screen. Let's go. This could be 2 out of 2 for Nintendo Switches. Let's just check it on the back as well. What do we get? 0.08, 0.11, and we get the icon on the screen, or should I say logo. I'll leave this in charge like I did the other one for a little bit, and we'll just make sure that it fully works. Then we'll see what's going on with this little Joy-Con here, and then we'll see if we made a profit or a loss. This Joy-Con, good. This Joy-Con, good. So again, both Joy-Cons absolutely fine. Very, very lucky. Game test. Yep, an update is required, that's good. And finally, SD card. Yes, perfect. I guess the only question now is, can we go 3 for 3? Let's find out what's going on with this Joy-Con. Okay, so it does go into the Switch, and it seems like it's working fine. The buttons feel good. I'm just gonna test it. Yeah, everything's working. Let's check the actual analog stick, make sure there's no drift or anything like that, which there isn't. That all seems to be absolutely fine. And it does work wirelessly. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. It does, it's just out of battery. So the wireless side of it works as well. So I think it just needs a good clean. There we go, just with a little spruce, looking 10 times better. Wipe down of the back of it as well. And just like that, it's as good as new. Lovely jubbly. So today we have officially gone 3 out of 3. 2 Nintendo Switches and a Joy-Con. Now, let's break down the numbers. I know from our previous video about 2 weeks ago, and it looks to be the same, that Nintendo Switches just for the console only is going for around £100 each. See here as well, 95, but that's plus £5 postage. Now, as for the Joy-Con, what have we got here? 27.49, that's the right side, same color and everything. 22.99. So we'll meet in the middle and we'll say 25 for that. So if we now go over to Sally, you're talking £105 is what we spent on both of the consoles. As for parts, an M92 T36 charging IC for me is £5, plus the charging port itself, which I think around £3. So we're talking £8 in cost today. So in the parts, we put £8. And for our sell price, 2 switches at £100 each, plus the Joy-Con for 25. You're looking at 225. Did we make a profit? I think everyone knows the answer to this. £105, 25 pence is the profit for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to check out this video over here where I do pretty much the exact same thing and find out if we made a profit or a loss. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.